Start winning at the races with Daily Racing Form's new mobile pass performances, featuring exclusive buyer speed figures and expert analysis and selections. Go to drf.com/best and get the power of DRF in the palm of your hand. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, race number 10 at Belmont Park on the 4th of July is the Grade 1 Manhattan. Let's take a look at this field. We're going the classic distance of 1.25 miles on the inner turf, 4-year-olds and up. Chad Brown has 3 of the 8. The one in Stilled Regard, your 2-1 morning line favorite. He's got Devamani at 9-2. He's got Rock Emperor at 5-1. He's got this field surrounded.
Yeah, that's usually the case in this Manhattan. I think he's won it. I think he's won it 5 times. He ran 1, 2, 3 in this race last year. And he's loaded with horses like this. So it's no surprise to see him well represented in here.
And he has horses that can run from the back of the pack. They're tactical enough to stay close to the pace. We take a look at the Timeform U.S. pace projector. Michael Maker's entrant, the 3 Cross Border, is expected to make the lead. And I agree with that. Cross Border should get to the front, but in Still Regard, the 1 has enough tactical speed to stay close to the pace. And then we see lingering near the back of the pack is the 2 Rock Emperor and the 5 Devamani. What do you think of the chances, though, of Cross Border sneaking off to an easy early lead? He might be a little bit class compromised. He used to be in for tags up at Woodbine, but he could get to the front and slow this down.
I can see him making the early lead in this race. I wouldn't be surprised to see him there. That seems like that's his best game, especially going longer. To be honest, Dan, if I was Bill Mott, the trainer of the 6 Channel Maker, I would grab Manny Franco in the paddock and I would say, put this horse on the lead.
That's when he seems to do his best running, and he does need a wake-up call coming into this race from a form standpoint. As for Instilled Regard, I think he'll be sitting right there, either second or third. And he's had kind of a sneaky good 2019. He won the Fort Lauderdale. He was third in the Pegasus Turf. And then he won this race, the Fort Marcy, last time out. And I think he did some good things in this race. There was a fast pace going on. He made a mid-move on the turn to take the lead, and he's going to hold off then the one-run closer, Devamani. He showed some guts in this race, winning at 1 1/8 miles. I think the question for him is, are you comfortable with him going 1.25 miles? He was 4th in the Kentucky Derby on dirt back in 2018. I kind of think he's versatile enough to get 1.25 miles.
Yeah, I think he is too. I mean, I wasn't necessarily thinking that he couldn't get the distance. And I thought he ran fine last time winning the Fort Marcy. We've talked about him a lot before. That I'm just not a huge fan of his. He's pretty good. I won't be surprised when he runs well in here. I just felt like this was the kind of race where I wanted some other horses.
Rock Emperor has already won at the 1.25 mile distance, and he was a tough trip third in the Belmont Derby in his North American debut last year, taken to the rail, on the far turn, had to alter course sharply, very wide turning for home, and he only got beat a length and change by Henley's Joy. Last time out in the Whittingham, let's watch that race out in Southern California. Near the back of the pack, swinging to the outside in the teal silks, and he's just going to miss the bob. This is a heartbreaking loss if you bet this horse at 11-10. United, though, the horse that did get the bob, is a very good turf horse in his own right, probably the best one in Southern California. Rock Emperor ran just fine in this race.
Yeah, I thought he ran really well in this race. Considering, as you said, United's really good. There wasn't a lot of pace in this race. They sort of went evenly up front. And this horse had a lot of ground to make up in the stretch. I thought he actually ran really well in there, Dan. If you watch the head-on, he really came in and slammed Originaire in the upper stretch. Then he bumped that horse again a couple of times later. Probably even cost Rock Emperor some momentum late in there, and he was ultimately disqualified from second. But I just thought he ran great last time. I thought he ran a deceptively good in the Muniz off the layoff 2 starts back where there was no pace for him to run at. And it just feels like the 1.25 miles. It really works for him. I just think he's super dangerous in here.
I think Cross Border, simply because of his pace edge, that is, if Channel Maker doesn't go with him, is interesting. Perhaps to sneak into the exotics at a big price. Just another example of Michael Maker taking over a horse, stretching him out in distance and getting him very, very good. He was 5th in the Joe Hirsch last year with a triple-digit buyer. And let's watch his last race. It's his first race in about 6 months. They shortened him up to 1 mile. He's going to run second. He was up close to the pace throughout. He's in those turquoise blinkers. He battles on. I think this is exactly what they wanted off of the layoff. Value Proposition, who's in the poker, is going to be the horse to run him down, but he gamely runs second in this race, Cross Border, and I think stretching back out and controlling the pace, he can take these a long way at a price.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I'm a fan of this horse. I don't know if I feel like, he's, a grade one kind of horse. They did run him in that Turf Classic last October. He ran surprisingly well that day at a big price. So we'll see. Maybe Makers, this is another one that Makers got the key for. I didn't love him in here, Dan, but he could get the right trip.
Sadler's Joy has been a hard hitter for a long, long time. He's banked $2.5 million in his career. He is a multiple graded stakes winner. And I really thought the way he finished up his 2019 campaign that we were going to have a big 7-year-old season for Sadler's Joy. Well, it hasn't materialized just yet. Third in the McDermott, third last time out in the Tiller Stakes, a race where I thought he had enough pace, and he came with his run, and he still got beat. This is a horse that when Javier rides him, they take him all the way back. And I'm just not sure that's really his best game at this point in his career. I liked it last year when Jose Lezcano got him into the race earlier.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was surprised that they didn't at least, try to maybe at least split the difference or something, but Castellano just likes to take him back. We'll see what happens. He's obviously good enough still to win this race. It feels like as he's gotten older, I don't want to say that he's lost a step. He probably has, but certainly the wins have been harder for him to come by. Seems like he just doesn't find the winner's circle all that much, but he can still run, and he's still a dangerous horse in races like this.
We saw Devamani rally to finish second behind Instilled Regard in the Fort Marcy. That came on the heels of a tough runner-up effort in the Grade 3 Tampa Bay, where he lost a bob to a big long shot. This is a horse that's just suddenly blossomed out of nowhere. I mean, he was running in claiming races in New York towards the end of last year, and I guess if you give him some pace, he's got a big shot from off of it.
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly improved in his last two starts. I say that he's improved while realizing that in the Tampa Bay, he lost to a horse that, it's hard to really give him too much credit for. That horse was a huge long shot and would be a huge long shot in a race like this as well. And then last time he ran well, but he got a great ride from Azario coming in and out on that inner turf going 9 furlongs. He ran well again, Dan, but neither of those two races necessarily made me want to bet him in a race like this.
Channel Makers just lost me, and I've been trying him for a long time. I know he's capable of running fast races. He's run at least 10 triple-digit buyer speed figures in his career. But last time out in the Tiller, Mike, could you find an excuse in that race? I thought Irad gave him a good trip from a tough outside post, and the horse that won that race was 1,000,000 to 1. He just hasn't seemed to come back since that Joe Hirsch from last year.
Yeah, I didn't want to give him too much of an excuse for the Tiller. I mean, if you could, when I went back and watched the replay, I mean, there was, he's all through the stretch. He was just sort of in behind horses. I don't think he ever got fully clear, but it was just hard to tell what he had. I don't know if he actually had that much run. I'm kind of with you, Dan, in that he sort of lost me, and I feel like he's probably lost a step or two in his recent races. But I know he's good enough to win this race, and I know that if Franco would just put him on the lead, I think he would have a real chance to wire this field. That makes me want to use him, especially if he's going to be 10 to 1.
Well, let's see if he had run. Let's watch the Tiller from last time. Dot Matrix finished second in that race. Sadler's Joy was a rallying third. And you're going to see Channel Maker sort of down inside behind these horses. The big long shot Peretz on the lead. Dot Matrix, it looks like, has dead aim, Mike, and he just can't get by this horse. Sadler's Joy's on the far outside trying to make a run. And we see Channel Maker just with an even finish. What did you think of this race overall?
I thought that it was somewhat of a surprising result, at least for me it was, because the horse that won it, who was just a huge long shot and, went to the lead and never stopped. And, Dot Matrix, it was another horse who I didn't particularly like in the race, as you said, took dead aim on that horse in the stretch. To me, it looked like he was going to win all through the final 3/16, and he never got by that horse to get it done. I don't know, Dan. Dot Matrix, I respect him. He's a really nice horse. He's shown in recent races anyway that he can go long. I don't know. I just don't like him in this race.
He wants this longer distance. He's a New York bred that's had some nice moments against open company, and he has enough tactical speed that maybe he could sit third or fourth. Spooky Channel's a little bit interesting to me. I wonder if maybe they get aggressive with him like they did 2 starts back in the Pan American, where they set the pace to no avail. He finished 5th behind Bema's Boy and Zulu Alpha, and then they changed tactics last time out. He came from off of the pace, and he won at Churchill Downs in a race where the 5th place horse came back to run second in the graded Wise Dan with a 99 buyer speed figure. This horse has always been okay, maybe a fringe grade 2 type. He is a grade 3 stakes winner. He's probably going to have to run a career best to beat this field.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, listen, if you're one of those people who looked at this race, didn't think it came up that strong, and you sort of wanted a longer price, he could be the right one. He's going to be a big price in this race, and he has run, some really nice races. I just didn't particularly like him.
Let's take a look at who you do like in the Grade 1 Manhattan this year, and it's who I like. We're both going to go with Rock Emperor. We both liked the performance he gave against United last time out in the Whittingham, just dropping that tough photo finish. I'm going Chad 2-1. You're going Rock Emperor the 2, but you want to use the 4 Sadler's Joy. You can never give up on him in these big races.
Yeah, true enough. I mean, I did, give the old vanguard of this division, Sadler's Joy and Channel Maker, a little bit of respect, put him second and third. But I don't know. I think Rock Emperor's found himself in a really nice spot here.
2461 for Mike, 2158 for me. The Grade 1 Manhattan, race number 10 on the 4th of July is an approximate post time of 6:20. Good luck.